Over here, if you'd please stand and address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're going to have no presentation of the colors tonight for obvious reasons, but anyway, I'm Rod Stark, town moderator. Over there, at that table all by himself is Jim Raymond. He's the assistant moderator. Over here we got Carl Adams. He's the chairman of the board. And then we got Kelly Boyer, select lady. Chet Bowe, the select man. And Derek Horn, town administrator. Diane. Danielle Barassa, assistant town administrator. Is that it? Kathy Ball, where are you? Okay. I would like to, did I miss anybody up front?
We just had the two select board members who were not able to be with us this evening.
Yes. Peter Georgianis and Mark LeMay, who are members of the select board, aren't able to be with us tonight. Anyway, I'd like to recognize budget committee members. If they happen to be here, please stand. Chair is Cole Reel. Vice chair is Jeffrey O'Brien. And then we have Joe Alexander Jr., Spencer Diaz, Elizabeth Dubrail, Craig Flegel, William Cordes, Dennis Lynch, Richard Manzo, Eileen McKinney, Fred Platt, Skylar Sund. Then also I'd like to recognize Richard Fletcher, representative of the, he's on the planning board, on the budget committee, representing the Goffstown Village Water Precinct, and Jared Talbot, a representative of the school board, and Selectman Mark LeMay, who is not here. And our state representatives, if you're here, you can stand and be recognized. We have Joe Alexander Jr., Barbara Griffin, Michael Gunsky, Fred Platt, Claire Ruillard, and John Byrd. We have our state senator, Lou D'Alessandro. So that's all those announcements. Now, what we've done is, actually what Derek did was he shortened up my speaking by printing out the rules and procedures of the meeting, and they're part of what was available to you when you checked in. But in brief, I'd like to say this. At the 1996 town meeting, the town voted to adopt what is known as Senate Bill 2. It's the standardized official referendum system. And it's under that system that we operate government here in town. So the highlights of the rules that I want to bring to your attention tonight are this. First of all, we're guests in the high school tonight. So please continue to wear a mask and maintain appropriate social distancing while here this evening, for your safety and everybody else's. Also, of course, there's no smoking anywhere on the school grounds. Registered voters have been given a voting card. Please make sure you sign your card. If you haven't signed your card, sign it now. If you leave before the meeting ends, you'll be asked to return the card. These voting cards must be displayed during a standing vote, like this. All speakers at the microphone must display their voting card. Before speaking, spell your last name for our scribe. At tonight's meeting, Articles 9 through 18 will be open for discussion. We can discuss them, debate them, and possibly amend them. The deliberative session allows the same range of possible amendments which voters always had under the old system, traditional town meeting. If an amendment to any warrant article is adopted by the meeting, the article as amended will appear on the official ballot for voting, which is going to be March 9th of this year. The printed rules, which have been provided to everybody, include the following information. Proper amendments and the process for presenting one at the meeting, how to request a written secret ballot, the parliamentary procedure to move the previous question, in other words, to end debate, motions for reconsideration, and motions to restrict reconsideration. Does anybody here have any question about the rules for the meeting before we get started? Okay. Finally, I'd like to note, as I always do, that I do not tolerate derogatory comments to be made about any speaker or person in this hall, so please do your best to be civil at all times. Okay, I need a motion to dispense with the reading of the warrant.
Mr. Moderator, I move to dispense with the reading of the warrant.
The motion's been seconded. All in favor of the motion to dispense with the reading of the warrant, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Fine, that motion is granted, and we'll go to Article 9. Now, Article 9 is the town's operating budget. And for this, I recognize Chairman Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move Article 9 to the floor. Thank you. So Article 9 is the town's operating budget. The operating budget consists of two funds, the general fund and the sewer enterprise fund. The EMS ambulance expenses are included in the operating budget and the default budget. I want to point out that at the request of the Department of Revenue Administration, the EMS Special Revenue Fund appropriation has been moved to a separate article, that is Article 10. It's important, I want to point out that if Article 10 fails, EMS operations will be funded by the general fund. The proposed operating budget is $24,844,592. We're going to focus the presentation on the general fund, as that is the only fund which impacts the town's property tax rate. That general fund budget has an increase of $1,075,572 over last year's budget. The general fund revenue is anticipated to decrease by $389,859, largely due to a reduction of one-time state aid in the state's previous biennial budget for fiscal years 2020 and 2021. So I want to point out that 70% of the $1 million increase to the general fund is primarily caused by two major and significant items. The first item is the road plan. The 2020 town meeting approved a special article to fund an additional $500,000 from fund balance to the road plan. That special article also includes specific language directing the select board to include that increase in the 2021 default and operating budgets. That increase is contained in the capital improvement program, or the CIP portion of the operating budget, which has an increase of $621,555 over year 2020. The second significant item is the increase to the employer contribution rates for the New Hampshire retirement system. Effective July 1st of this year, 2021, retirement employer rates for the system are increasing because the system's assumed rate of return on investments was lowered last fall. Based on budgeted wages, the increase to New Hampshire retirement system is $198,019 increase in the year 2021. Excuse me, pardon me. There are other changes affecting the department operating budgets from the previous year. I'll highlight some of them. The budget includes contractual increases for two union contracts previously approved, that being for the firefighters and the DPW Teamsters. The collective bargaining agreements for police patrol as well as police dispatchers and clerks unions will be separate special articles on this year's ballot and discussed later this evening. The budget includes a 2% wage matrix adjustment for non-union employees, as well as step increases for eligible non-union employees. Health insurance premiums increased significantly by 12.3% in 2021. These increases amount to a 3.2% increase on the insurance lines associated with dental, disability, life, and unemployment insurances. That's an additional 3.2% associated with those insurance lines. Contracting prices for certain items such as gasoline, diesel, heating oil, propane, and electricity have seen moderate increases. If the article fails, the default budget shall be $23,752,598. I want to point out that this article is recommended unanimously by both the Select Board and the Budget Committee.
Yes, the floor is now open for discussion. Anybody wishing to speak on this article? If you do, come down to the microphone with your voter card. But I don't see anybody moving. So,
Mr. Moderator, I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 9.
all right, there's been a motion made to restrict reconsideration of Article 9 which has been seconded, I don't know by who, Selectwoman Boyer. So, all in favor of restricting reconsideration of Article 9, say aye. All right, that's it. Now we just go to the next article. Article 10. Is that yours too?
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 10 to the floor.
Article 10 has been moved to the floor. Has it been seconded? And seconded. You care to address it?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The EMS Special Revenue Fund was established in 2001. 100% of all the revenues collected from the EMS operations is deposited into that fund. Traditionally, the EMS Special Revenue Fund budget has been included as part of the overall operating budget appropriation article. However, in 2017, the Department of Revenue Administration at the state issued guidance that all appropriations for special revenue funds should be made in separate warrant articles because they require an affirmative annual vote by the legislative body, which is why we're here tonight with this article. This article asks voters to fund the 2021 EMS operations from the EMS Special Revenue Fund with no funds to be raised by taxation. And I repeat, no funds to be raised from taxation. The proposed 2021 EMS budget is $834,764, which is an increase from $634,408 in 2020. This increase is due to the purchase of an ambulance, which is scheduled for this year, 2021. And that is a $200,000 purchase for a new ambulance. If Article 10 passes, Article 9, the operating budget, will be reduced by the amount of the EMS operations. So I'll just repeat, if Article 10 passes, Article 9, which we just heard, will be reduced by the amount of the annual EMS operations. If Article 10 fails, EMS operations will be funded through taxation, which is estimated to increase the tax rate by 48 cents. This article is recommended unanimously by both the Select Board and the Budget Committee.
Is there any discussion on Article 10? I don't see any. You want to make a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 10.
Okay, there's been a motion made to restrict reconsideration of Article 10, been seconded, and so now we'll take that to a vote. All in favor of restricting reconsideration of Article 10, say aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Before we go to Article 11, I'd like to note that Senator Lou D'Alessandro has come and to attend our meeting. Thank you, Senator. Okay, now we'll go to Article 11. This is a collective bargaining agreement for the Patrolmen's Unit, and I recognize Vice Chair Boyer.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move Article 11 to the floor.
Article 11 has been moved to the floor and seconded. Do you wish to address it?
Yes, please. Thank you. Article 11 is the collective bargaining agreement for the Patrolmen Union. This is a 3-year contract for Patrolmen 1, 2, and 3. This contract covers 21 patrolman positions at the police department. The Select Board negotiated this three-year contract with an eye to improving recruitment of new officer candidates and retaining our current officers. We estimate that it cost approximately $54,000 to train a new officer. Over the last 4 years, 10 officers from the police department have left. 5 of those have left for other police agencies. In southern New Hampshire, the marketing for police officers is very competitive, with some municipalities offering higher starting wages and sign-on bonuses. As far as wages are concerned, we negotiated a 15-step wage matrix with placement based on years of service. The starting pay for a new officer will increase to $24.70 an hour, which is based upon market analysis for Southern New Hampshire patrolman wages. In regards to benefits, the CBA language modifies the employee-employer share of the high deductible plan to make this more attractive to this younger workforce. We also reduce the impact of those employees that opt out of the town's insurance by changing to a flat rate opt-out. The town negotiated contract changes to language throughout the contract to clarify process and procedure of existing policies and benefits. The tax rate impact of this increase in 2021 is estimated at 5 cents. This article is recommended by the Select Board and the Budget Committee.
Does anyone wish to address this article? Yes. Can't hear you. Yes.
Kathy Holt, 27 Stinson Road.
Speak nice and loudly. State your name and address.
I did, but you didn't hear it. Kathy Holt, 27 Stinson Road. What's the percentage of increase?
The percentage increase overall would depend on the years of service for each patrolman that was hired. We don't have an average, but I can tell you that the increase will increase the starting pay rate to $24.70 an hour. And we have 21 patrolmen in our department. And that's for starting wages.
Does anyone else wish to discuss this article?
You can come back up and...
I can't hear what she said.
I don't know.
You have to come to the microphone.
I can't hear her.
I think she said.
Well, I explained that we don't have...
So what's the average raise? So, I mean, other people are getting raises too, so what's the average patrol person getting as a raise?
So the average increase, well, the increase for starting is 8%. We shrunk the matrix to a smaller size, so that placement is dependent on years of service. So I don't have an exact answer to that question, but it will be changing accordingly. They're all, placed differently across the board.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay.
Motion to restrict consideration of Article 11? Reconsideration? What did I say? Consideration? You know.
I know what you meant. Is there a second?
Check.
Okay. All in favor of the motion to restrict reconsideration of Article 11, say aye. Opposed? That motion passes, and we'll go to number 12. This article is the collective bargaining agreement for dispatchers and clerks at the police department. I recognize Vice Chair Boyer.
I didn't go anywhere. I move Article 12 to the floor. Thank you. Can I speak to that, Mr. Moderator?
No, is there any, the floor is open for discussion on
I gotta
Article.
read it first.
I'm sorry?
Let me tell him about it first.
Oh, yeah, well, that's reasonable.
Thank you.
Just trying to move things along.
Let me tell you about it first, and then we can talk about it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 12 is the collective bargaining agreement for dispatchers and clerks at the police department. This is a 3-year contract for dispatchers and the clerks at the police department. This contract covers 12 positions at the police department. The town's dispatch center currently dispatches for 6 outside agencies. It generates over $150,000 in revenue to the general fund annually. The focus of negotiations was to maintain competitive wages. As far as wages are concerned, a dispatcher's starting pay in this agreement will be $20 an hour in 2021, based on market analysis of Southern New Hampshire dispatch centers. Clerk's starting pay will be at $18 an hour in 2021. In regards to benefits, this contract eliminates the most expensive health insurance plan to the previous contract. Also, reduce the impact of those employees that opt out of the town's insurance by changing to a flat rate. The town negotiated changes to language throughout the contract to clarify processes and procedures of existing policies and benefits. The tax rate impact of this increase in 2021 is estimated at 2 cents. This article is recommended by the Select Board and Budget Committee.
Floor is open for discussion. Yes?
Kathy Holt, 27 Stinson Road, same question. What's the percentage of raise, if that's how you'd like it worded?
So for the clerks, the starting wage is increasing by 9%, and dispatch is increasing by 10%. Again, we don't have an average for that, but that's the general increase overall.
Any other questions or discussion? A motion?
Motion to restrict reconsideration of Article 12?
All right. Been a motion made to restrict reconsideration of Article 12. That motion has been seconded. So it's on the floor. Any discussion on that article, on that motion? Then we'll vote on it. All in favor of restricting reconsideration of Article 12, say aye. Opposed? It passes. Now we'll go to 13. This is a FEMA Safer Grant article. I recognize Selectman Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move Article 13 to the floor.
Second.
Article 13 is a FEMA Safer Grant article. This article is a non-lapsing appropriation for a period of 4 years. This article would appropriate funds to hire 4 full-time firefighter EMTs to cover shifts currently staffed by part-time or overtime personnel and is contingent upon approval for a federal Homeland Security Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response, aptly named SAFER Grant. The SAFER Grant program provides financial assistance to help fire departments increase their team of frontline firefighters. If awarded, Goffstown would be able to hire 4 full-time firefighters EMTs to cover shifts currently staffed by part-time or overtime personnel, which I believe I just said. The grant is 100% funded through grant proceeds that will be received from FEMA. Firefighter positions created under program must be retained by the community for the duration of the grant period, which is 36 months. This expenditure is contingent upon the award of the SAFER grant. This article is recommended by the Select Board and the Budget Committee.
Does anyone wish to be heard on this article? Any questions? All right, you want to make a motion to restrict?
Move to restrict reconsideration of Article 13.
Second.
All right, there's a motion been made and seconded to restrict reconsideration of Article 13. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Article 14. Article 14 is a deposit into the Fire Apparatus Capital Reserve Fund from unassigned fund balance. And I recognize Chairman Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move Article 14 to the floor.
All right, Article 14 has been moved and seconded, so it's open for discussion. Anyone wish to discuss Article 14?
I'll address you first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll let them know what it's all about.
Okay.
So here's what Article 14 is about. The Fire Department Apparatus Capital Reserve Fund was established back in 2008 to help defray the single-year impact of the replacement cost of modern fire apparatus, which can run between $750,000 and $1.5 million. This capital reserve fund helps to spread that cost over multiple years to avoid spikes in tax rate. The fund can also provide the town leverage in the form of local match when seeking grants to replace apparatus. This was the case back in 2010 when the fire department was able to accept an assistance to firefighters grant to replace the town's obsolete ladder trucks with one tower ladder. In that instance, the required match dollars came from this fund. The current balance in this fund as of December 31st, 2020 was $644,276. Over the years, this fund has also been used to replace a pumper tanker, a command SUV, and a rescue boat. This article is to be funded from unassigned fund balance with no additional monies to be raised by taxation. This article is recommended unanimously by both the Select Board and the Budget Committee.
Does anybody wish to discuss this article? I do. Maybe it's in here, I just didn't see it, but how much is being proposed to add to the account?
$250,000.
What does it say?
Where is that?
It isn't,
Where is that? But the answer is $250,000. It's found on the warrant.
it's on the warrant. Okay. Question answered. Thank you. All right, any other discussion?
Motion to restrict reconsideration of Article 14.
All right, motion has been made and seconded to restrict reconsideration of Article 14. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We'll go to 15. And this is for a deposit into the Grassmere Town Hall Capital Reserve Fund from the unassigned fund balance. And for this, I recognize Chairman Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move Article 15 to the floor.
Article 15 has been moved to the floor and seconded. You care to discuss this?
Yes, sir. So this article would deposit $100,000 into the Grassmere Town Hall Capital Reserve Fund, which was established in 2005. The Select Board and the Historic District Commission are designated as agents to expend and could access this fund anytime during the year. The current balance as of December 31st, 2020 of this reserve fund is $272,596. This article would deposit $100,000 into the fund for construction of a 2-story addition on the rear of the building. The second floor of the building, the Grassmere Town Hall, has been restored through grants, volunteer efforts, and previous uses of this fund. The space is available for residents of Goffstown, but is only accessed using the front stairwell. The addition will include an elevator to the restored second floor, making the space available to all residents of Goffstown and bringing it into compliance with the ADA. It will include storage and additional bathroom facilities on the second floor as well. In 2018, the architect for the project updated the probable construction cost estimated for the addition at $450,000. So this would represent the third and final planned $100,000 deposit into the Capital Reserve Fund. The town will continue to explore grant opportunities and other funding resources to assist in this effort. This Capital Reserve Fund can be used for any required match for grants. This article would also be funded by unassigned fund balance with no additional monies to be raised by taxation. This article is recommended unanimously by both the Select Board and the Budget Committee.
Is there any discussion on this article? Okay. Guess not.
I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 15.
Motion has been made to restrict reconsideration of Article 15. Motion is seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes. We'll go to 16. This is the authorization for use of the library trustees' unrestricted funds. And I recognize Vice Chair Boyer.
Move Article 16 to the floor.
Second.
Article 16 is on the floor for discussion.
I'm going to tell them about it first.
You can discuss it.
Oh, thank you. Article 16. This article would appropriate $95,000 from the library trustees' unrestricted funds for the purpose of hiring industry professionals to help develop a more accurate budget for the library addition and renovation project, as well as a realistic fundraising goal for capital campaign management. The library trustees' unrestricted funds are a result of gifts, bequests, or donations to the Goffstown Library. The current balance as of December 31st of the library's unrestricted fund is $252,386. This appropriation includes funds for land surveying and geotechnical studies. The library trustees will use this information from those professionals to lower costs where they can, to troubleshoot problems before the project begins, and to obtain the most accurate numbers for the library addition and renovation project. An itemization of costs and more information about the addition and renovation can be found on the Goffstown Library's website at www.goffstownlibrary.com. This article is to be funded by the library's unrestricted funds with no monies to be raised by taxation. This article is recommended by the Select Board and Budget Committee.
Any discussion on this article? Apparently not. Do you have a motion?
Motion to restrict reconsideration of Article 16.
Motion made and seconded to restrict reconsideration of Article 16. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll go to 17. 17 is to fund a portion of Crispin House's annual operating budget. For this, I recognize Selectman Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move Article 17 to the floor.
Second.
Article 17 is to fund a portion of Crispin's House annual operating budget. This article would continue taxpayer support of Crispin's House Coalition for Youth. Crispin's House has provided services to youth and families of Goffstown for over 30 years, providing a wide range of program opportunities to help kids make positive choices. The annual budget of Crispin's House is about $106,000. The warrant article funds $20,000, or 19% of the total budget. The organization works hard to raise the remaining funds through fundraising activities, community involvement, and grants. This article demonstrates strong and continued community support, which helps these efforts. Programs include an accredited juvenile court diversion program, volunteens, youth forums, challenge day, mental health education, suicide prevention, and substance misuse prevention. This article is recommended by the Select Board and Budget Committee.
Is there any discussion on this article? All right, you want to make a motion?
I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 17.
Second.
All right, there's a motion made and seconded to restrict reconsideration of Article 17. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes. We'll go to 18. This is an article to fund a portion of the Goffstown Main Street Program annual operating budget. I recognize Selectman Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move Article 18 to the floor. Article 18 is to fund a portion of Goffstown Main Street Program annual operating budget. This article would continue taxpayer support of the Goffstown Main Street Program. Goffstown Main Street Program's mission is to provide support, advice, and promotion to current and potential business owners in the designated Main Street area and cultivate a sense of community for Goffstown residents using the National Main Street Center's four-point approach. The four-point approach revolves around principles of effective design, promotion, economic restructuring, and organization as the keys to economic revitalization of the historic downtown. Passage of this warrant article would provide $15,000 towards their 2021 budget of $117,912. This article is recommended by the Select Board and Budget Committee.
Floor is open for discussion on this article. Do you have a motion?
I move to restrict reconsideration of Article 18.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to restrict reconsideration of Article 18. Any discussion? The motion passes. Now, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I'm sorry?
Notwithstanding how there's a military coup in Burma to show how you can just take control of democracy, you have to take a vote on the motion. So just ask them to say aye.
All right, all in favor of the motion to restrict reconsideration of 18, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Now, does anyone wish to make a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion to adjourn is passed unanimously.